New Jersey is comprised of 21 counties, 52 cities, and 564 different municipalities. So if you're moving to New Jersey, you're going to want to know which places you really want to target and which places you may want to avoid. So in this video, we're going to rank the best places to live in New Jersey versus the worst. We're going to do this on a scale system, S being the best places, D being those that are the worst. Keep in mind, I'm not intending to lead anyone to make a determination on what's good or what's bad. This is really up to you. My rankings are determined based on client feedback and information online. Ultimately, as a buyer, be an informed buyer. Get information and make a determination on what is best for you. My name is Corey Jones. I'm a real estate agent here in New Jersey, and I've helped hundreds of families both buy and sell homes right here in the Garden State. But we're going to start off with the lowest level with D, and we're going to take note that some of these factors are going to be, as some examples are going to be older infrastructure in some locations. Property taxes we're going to take a note of. Amenities, commute to a given metropolitan area. Of course, I mentioned before, we're located very close proximity in South Jersey to Philly. Most of the population and the highest demand in New Jersey are the suburbs of New York City. And I know that strikes a chord with some people because it's New Jersey and not New York. But the reality is a lot of New Yorkers, I should say New York workers, people who are employed in New York, do in fact live in New Jersey. So our tier D, we're going to start with Patterson, New Jersey. Is located in Passaic County, which is one of the northernmost counties in the state of New Jersey. And Patterson has a bit of an interesting history. The history of it was really designed going back to the days of Alexander Hamilton and early colonial period. And when I say colonial, when the United States was just forming as a country, that it was going to be like this industrial manufacturing kind of center in that area of New Jersey. And this is one of like the very early ideas or concepts of building a city or a town around that type of idea or that type of economic growth, if you will. Patterson has some of the lowest median home prices in the state. So there is definitely an attraction there if you are looking for a bargain, whether it be an investor or someone who's looking to first time buy. But a lot of these are older structures, and these older structures, they can come with charm, but they also come with a high degree of maintenance. So whether it be an investor or a developer looking to convert, let's say, a warehouse, because there are plenty of these type of structures in Patterson that reflect the old guard of factories and what have you that date back decades, right? So do you take on the infrastructure challenges that come with revitalizing and regenerating an area if there's not a significant draw of population there that are attracted to the area, normally in North Jersey because of proximity to New York City? So Patterson is not like a Jersey City, for example, directly across the Hudson. In that case, Patterson doesn't have that luxury of being that close to New York City. So there is aging infrastructure that are there. There's some revitalization efforts that have taken place in the city, but none that match what we have seen in locations. Again, I'm going to point out Jersey City, what has happened in Jersey City over the past 2 decades. So it's a night and day story in that regard between Patterson and Jersey City. And for that reason, Patterson is in that D tier where it presents opportunity in terms of budget. But when it comes to infrastructure, a lot of redevelopment, even from an investor standpoint, is it a hub right now? Do we see a lot of attention with not just investors purchasing for investing in terms of just having rental property, but really refurbishing or even tearing down, building up new? Yes, that does happen in Patterson, but on a scale that we see in other communities, not as much. So that is something that really puts it in that D tier. And as you've seen in my other episodes, I always bring it back to another factor of what I call the big three. And if you're not used to seeing my episodes, the big three are three factors that create demand and high demand in New Jersey, particularly northern New Jersey, and that is proximity to New York City, local train station, and school ratings. And for niche.com, as we see here, C- is the school rating for Patterson. Anything outside of an A+, AA- range, I don't consider a high demand area because of schools. Once you get into the C's and D range, these are normally places that families that have a high priority on highly rated schools will not really consider. So that's something to consider or to keep in mind for Patterson. Second location in Tier D, Irvington, New Jersey. Irvington is in Essex County, neighboring to Newark, so it is in far closer proximity to New York City, which certainly is a plus. Budget-friendly alternative to Newark, so it has a really heavy inventory of multifamily properties, has a good inventory of single-family homes as well. Some townhomes also. Challenge with Irvington, despite being budget-friendly, relative to some of the surrounding towns, the taxes are safely to say double what you'll find in Newark, right? So this is something that Irvington is going to have to find some kind of way to navigate. I'm not sure what can be done short-term about the tax situation in Irvington, but it is a noticeable detractor for buyers and investors when they compare side by side a home in Newark compared to a home in Irvington when it comes to the tax number. Often they're going to be factored in safety concerns as well. So every individual is going to be incumbent upon you as someone who is shopping and consuming. This is not something that your agent is going to dive into in terms of crime ratings and things like that. But from my feedback from clientele, they definitely have researched crime factors to determine what areas of Irvington are going to be okay for them, what areas that they just rather continue their search than considering. So this is something that is going to be a factor for many of those who are considering that location based on my previous experience with clients. So here we're going to take a quick look at just get an idea of Irvington market, something that was a recent sale. I'm just going back 1 month to see what has sold in the past month. And right now we are at the end of February 2025. And this right here they didn't give a bedroom bath count on this, but it appears to be single family and sold at $550,000. All right. So with, let's see, days on market, 23 days on market, it went 10% above. So again, no matter what the tier, there is demand that is here. All right. So taking just a quick browse through some of the photos, you can see this was a recent renovation. Right. So a recently renovated property, and the renovations do vary in quality. So it's important to see something firsthand close up. This one I can tell by the vents up here has central air. HVAC is something that is not common in a lot of inventory in both Irvington and Newark and some of those surrounding areas that are more urban centers. But this one was something that had those upgrades, new decking and backyard space. So this is giving you an idea of what a mid 500 looks like in Irvington, because if you're in some other markets, that mid 500 is very much a dated home, if not a fixer-upper, but it has higher demand perhaps for that community for some other reasons that we're going to get into. So Tier C, this is solid value for the price. The price is going to bring a lot of positives, very affordable options relative, of course, to the market. Commutes may be a bit longer. All right. Taxes, it depends on location and also the amenities, the town amenities. Do you have that downtown, that walkable downtown with the train station, somewhere that has a lot of different dining options and retail and what have you? So we're going to start with Plainfield, New Jersey. I have 2 episodes on Plainfield. Definitely take a look at those episodes. It's very much worth a look. So Plainfield, big inventory of historic homes. Plainfield was known as, or is still known as, the Queen City. This was, if we date back, turn of the century all the way up to pre-war, World War II era, this would have been one of the more higher demand locations to live in Union County, just outside of New York City. That has changed over time, but we see that there is definitely revitalization that is happening in Plainfield. So historic homes that are come at a very affordable price, again, relative to the area. We're talking northern New Jersey at the end of the day. So there are efforts of revitalization that are taking place in the downtown scene. And challenge side is we're going to go back to schools again, where you take a look at niche.com, D+ for school ratings. So despite having large sections of town that are really quiet, calm, tree-lined streets, neighborhoods that are beautiful, well-maintained homes, the school district is going to be a reason that, based on some of my clients that I've worked with, decide not to consider it as an option, because we have a D+ rating for the school district. There are 2 train stations in town, which make it attractive from a commute standpoint, but keep in mind, the train does not have direct service to Newark Penn Station in the peak hours, only off-peak, which is going to be a factor for many who don't want to have to deal with exchange in Newark prior to getting to the city. But it has a nice blend, nonetheless, of an urban and suburban mix. The downtown area is not the downtown that we find in some other areas like a Westfield, like even like a Somerville. This is not too far away. Ridgewood, Montclair is not that type of a downtown scene. Even Rahway, which is neighboring, but it's a downtown nonetheless that it is developing. There are efforts of revitalization that are happening, slow but steady. So I can see definitely something being a new type of aesthetic in that general downtown area in another probably 5 to 10 years. All right, we're going to take a look at Plainfield. We're going to look at a sold property. This is right at the end of January, so almost a full month ago. This one slightly below ask, 2% below asking price, 30 days on market. Very, very nice square footage, 4-bed, 2.5 bath. Pemberton is a quieter neighborhood. I'm very, very familiar with the neighborhood. 2-car detached garage, as we see there. Deck in the back, very good space. So here is where you're looking to see, what does that dollar figure translate into? Is it something that's more of a fixer-upper? And we see this is a very, very well-maintained home. Kitchen is not newly renovated, but there have been updates over time. And you can see even with lighting, there's been some updates that have been made. So this is, again, this is where we're talking about that tier C, where you're in a nice, quiet community, a home that is, I would consider this still relatively turnkey. And from a price point standpoint, well, we're talking $575, right? Still under $600,000. So that's giving you a feel for what a tier C type of opportunity looks like. And you heard me reference Rahway, so we're going to jump back into Rahway. Rahway, another spot like Plainfield, has the downtown, has a train station. Catch here is that train does in fact provide direct service into the city. No need for a transfer. Downtown is a step ahead, in my opinion, step ahead of Plainfield in terms of your dining options. Your culture and arts and music scene are definitely a bit more advanced in Rahway. Neighborhoods, you find, again, some quieter neighborhoods, tree-lined streets. There is inventory, like Plainfield, also of multifamily homes for those that are looking for investment. So the median price, similar to Plainfield, presents a very affordable type of dynamic for those who are looking for something that's budget friendly. School ratings is another factor that is always going to be a factor for those who have school-aged children, but sometimes even for those without children, but just think, what type of demand is going to be on my home when I am ready to sell? So in Rahway's case, Rahway comes in at a B-, right? So we're starting to see some improvement, definitely over the Plainfield D+, B- for Rahway. But again, a lot of families that are looking for really higher quality schools are looking for those A+, A- level districts. But Rahway, definitely like Plainfield, strikes a happy medium in terms of getting a good value for your money, but just having some challenges on the other side. Our next tier is tier B, and these are locations that are on the rise. And some of these locations have not had a real heavy downturn to begin with, but nonetheless, because of location primarily, but other factors also, we're seeing elevated levels of demand. And those factors are absolutely coinciding with prices being a bit higher than what we would have seen, say, just 5 years ago. So we're going to start with Bloomfield. Bloomfield is neighboring to Montclair. Median home price is more around $500K. So you can imagine, and again, that's just the median home price of the town. That's not even talking about what's on the market. So a single family home in Bloomfield easily would be in the low to mid 500s, something that didn't need work, that is, to something well over 700, approaching 800. All right, depending on neighborhood, depending on size and some other features of the home. Easy access. It has the train station is there in Bloomfield. It has a bustling downtown scene, if you want to call it that. It's not your traditional downtown, but there's most of the retail and commercial businesses are closer to the train station. And you reference my video footage, you'll see right then there what I'm referring to, right? So it is ease of commute, whether you're a driver, whether you're going to take the bus or whether you're going to take the train. Very, very easy access. So schools, that's the other factor that comes up. List flash up niche.com, school ratings. B+ for Bloomfield, and those ratings have been going up. Over the past 5 years, there have been a lot of young families, young professionals moving in. There's been a lot of really positive traction in various areas of Bloomfield with the population that's starting to come in. And these are oftentimes, in my experience, clients who don't want to pay the premium dollar of living in Glen Ridge or Montclair or South Orange or maybe even Maplewood, but consider Bloomfield very attractive alternative, getting a bit more, considerably more in many cases for your money, and schools not being a deterrent, not a place where you would say, hey, I don't want to have my kids go to those schools. Now, there are sections of Bloomfield that do border on Newark and East Orange, and those areas more multifamily homes, and you also have generally smaller lot sizes. So a different neighborhood aesthetic is in that area, but overall, there's been a steady rise in Bloomfield over the past 5 years. And for Bloomfield, we're going to take a quick look, as we've been doing with some of the recent sales. This is 201 Sadler Road, and this is a sale, as we can see here, 8% above list price, 4 days on market. And I would say from the looks of the photos that we're looking at right now, turnkey, but on the scale of turnkey of what we just saw in Plainfield, right? So really new renovations, not necessarily. There have been upgrades over time, well maintained, but do we see something that is next level compared to Plainfield? Not altogether, but the level of demand, nice backyard patio there. Level of demand is a bit higher for some of those factors that we've already talked about with our different tiers. Our second tier B, and we're staying with a B theme here because we're talking Bayonne, just south of Jersey City, southern tip of the peninsula, which is Hudson County, right? So we're directly across the bridge from Staten Island, very close proximity to Manhattan. There very soon will be ferry service going from Bayonne to Manhattan. This is one of the big appeals for Bayonne. Development's been happening significantly in Bayonne. Obviously, like every other place in Jersey, it seems right now, around train stations, which is a light rail that runs through Bayonne and connects with the PATH station in Jersey City at Exchange Place. So you have that development. And then on the west side of Bayonne, there is a Bayfront project that's coming there. All right, so Jersey City has a really massive one. Bayonne has a smaller one that's coming about, but it's going to have a walkway, basically a boardwalk along the Newark Sound facing Newark and Elizabeth. So this is something that, again, is having more and more traction and development because of proximity. And despite Bayonne being a bit on the congested side, it's densely populated. You don't have large yard spaces. Bergen Point is probably the one exception where you find more of your traditional single-family homes that would have a bit more yard space. But even in Bergen Point, there's a significant volume of multifamily homes as well. But this is kind of that small town yet urban blend that is really, really unique because it's not like Jersey City, but at the same time, it's not like the real suburban locations that are nearby too, like a Bloomfield. So these are two locations that get a lot of attention because schools are not a detractor And we're going to flash up the Bayonne ratings here, which is a B for the Bayonne schools. So again, something that a lot of families are not going to run away from, but it's not necessarily families looking for that location because of the school reputation. But Bayonne certainly solidly in the tier B group. Our tier A, these are highly desirable places, high demand. They have top rated schools. They have great amenities, and that primary amenity is going to be local train station. It's going to also coincide with lifestyle where you value that walkable downtown with cultural art activities, festivals, pretty much anything that you would want to do, you could do right there in town, right? And not have to go to another location to enjoy an event. So we're gonna go to two locations which I've had multiple features on, and these are both cornerstones in terms of high demand locations here in the New Jersey market. First is Montclair. All right, so Montclair is one of the most desirable towns. It definitely has that urban kind of energy, but very much a suburb. You're paying a premium because of that, because you have one of the more notable downtown scenes, right? Or walkable downtown. And it's not just one location in Montclair. There's various locations that have clusters of just great dining options, great green spaces, train stations throughout. They run throughout different sections of town. Most locations in town are walkable within, say, 10 to 15 minutes to a train station. So Montclair is one of those locations where those who have that premium dollar and have high value on some of these things that I just talked about are going to target Montclair. I'm going to flash up the niche ratings, again, just to reinforce the school demand and why. And as we see, A- for Montclair. So Montclair, we reference how we have started really an escalation once you get to those high demand areas, what the price point is going to be required. Montclair, like a lot of areas around it, we're going to include Bloomfield. We're going to include obviously South Orange and Maplewood, but even areas that we've already covered, like a Plainfield, a lot of historic homes like that, price point very different. So we can see here, this is a property went at $1.65 million, and take a look right here, 50% above list price. Not uncommon in Montclair. Montclair typically goes 20 to 30% above list price. That's not even relative to this market or the COVID market. That was even before COVID that you often saw a really higher sale price compared to list price, but 50% above, sold at 1.65. We take a look at some of these photos. All right, so definitely a more traditional colonial style, right? So we take a look inside. Well maintained. Let's take a look at kitchen when we get across to that. Normally, kitchens are the first thing to be shown if it was newly updated. So this is not a newly updated. It has been updated, no doubt, over time, but very well put together, very well maintained. This is a very very well maintained home, upgraded bathroom, beautiful hardwood floors throughout. That looks like the third level up there with another bathroom, finished basement. But this is something that comes part and parcel with being in Montclair, right? So you'll find typically properties that have been not only well maintained, but upgraded over time, sometimes newly renovated. But this gives you a little taste of what that premium location draws for a home that is pretty much mature in age, but has been well maintained and upgraded over time. Second location is Ridgewood. Ridgewood, like Montclair, beautiful downtown section, train station right there downtown, tons of retail, dining options that are varied, green spaces. You have Graydon Park, which is absolutely gorgeous. Definitely check out some of the footage that I have right here on my channel of Graydon Park, which is like your in-town beach/pool scene, which is unique. You're not going to find another really beach pool scene like that. You have towns that have lakes and towns that are along the shore. I've not seen anything else in Jersey like Graydon Park. Schools are absolutely high performing, high demand. A plus for Ridgewood. All right, so That goes hand in hand with being high demand. Property values, yes, you are going to pay a premium. Difference between Ridgewood, Montclair. Montclair definitely is going to be a higher tax type of scenario with property taxes much higher than a location like Ridgewood. So many people who don't want to necessarily take on that Montclair tax rate will consider, if not a Ridgewood, this further up and a little further out from the city, but they may consider a Summit, New Jersey, for example, where again, train line still goes directly in. Taxes far lower. Westfield, another option. Taxes far lower. In some cases, even one of the really superb or superior in Class S. I'm going to save that one to there, but we're going to have one other that people consider as an option, as an alternative to Montclair because of taxes, like a Ridgewood. So our best of the best, these are the premium level demand and price point for those who want to really pay that top dollar for the more notable locations in the state. It can be argued that Montclair and Ridgewood belong right here in this group, but I'd love to get your feedback on that. So absolutely chime in and do share. So Princeton will be one of them. So Princeton, again, another location that if someone does not want to deal with the tax number in Montclair, can consider Princeton. But for Princeton, just such a unique, the history of Princeton University, the historic nature of that entire scene is none other is like it really in New Jersey. Retail, culture and arts, events, all those things are right there. Train station, the Princeton train station itself is not really that primary train that you're going to get to the city with. That'll be Princeton Junction, which is not far away, just a stop away. Schools like Ridgewood, A+. So when it comes to elite schools, and keep in mind, New Jersey is one of the top states when it comes to public school ratings, right? So always somewhere in the top 3 with Connecticut and Massachusetts. There may be a little altering of position year to year, but New Jersey consistently in the top 3. So even when we're looking at lower grades, we're still talking about one of the states with top rated schools, public schools in general. So A+, which means that this is one of the better districts in the country, not just in the state of New Jersey, but in the country. And our second option, this is more northern, coming back north in Essex County once again, Short Hills, which is really not incorporated municipality. Millburn is the actual incorporated township, but Short Hills takes up most of Millburn, the neighborhood, if you will. So Short Hills, again, top tier schools. Let's flash up those ratings, and you see, again, you're going to see Millburn, but we're referencing Short Hills. And like Princeton, A+. So you have the train, you have a downtown scene that's walkable, you have green spaces, you have some of the most beautiful tree-lined streets that you can find anywhere. In my opinion, Montclair, West Orange, South Orange, Maplewood, Short Hills, that entire general area has some of the most beautiful neighborhoods that I think that you'll ever see. So ultimately, best neighborhoods in New Jersey, it really depends on you. If you're looking for the best of the best in terms of school ratings, and you're looking for having that full package of school rating, train station, walkable towns, downtown scenes, and all those tiers have more demand than there is supply. Okay, so definitely consider some options. If you're just kind of curious whether you should start now, start later, give me a call. We'll have a conversation just to walk through what your journey would look like. So stay tuned for our upcoming episodes on best places to live in New Jersey and other exciting developments right here in the real estate community. So in the meantime, stay safe and stay tuned to New Jersey Living.